Today, we are learning basketball with Antonio Diaz, a new scouting associate with the Mexico City Capitanes, formerly working with ID Prospects and EHoopsScouting. One of my favorite followers on Twitter. How are you doing today, Antonio?
I'm doing well, Ryan. I'm doing pretty well. Fresh off the news of the job with Capitanes, so I'm really happy with all the reception I got from everyone I know. So yeah, it's life is good right now for sure.
No doubt. We got to start off with a congratulations to you and the team.
Yeah, thank you.
Excited to see Ignacio Risotto of ID Prospects, who you used to work with there, and Roshan Patluri of Swish Theory also join your team on the scouting side and coaching side. I mean, just super excited for y'all. What are y'all already getting into? What are you most excited about this opportunity?
We're just learning how to build a G League team, which is not nearly as easy, let's say, as like an NBA team where everyone wants to go on your team. Like G League team, you have to wait for the NBA contracts and European contracts and stuff like that. So you have to have a bigger pool of players and try to go from there. But it's been a great experience, a great opportunity to see how a team is constructed. Like we this year we have Dink Pate as a big draft guy, so we want to also build something around him and stuff like that. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, what are your favorite skills that you see in him, and maybe some development goals your team has for him this year?
Yeah, it's mostly getting him to not only know how to play with the ball, but also to play off of the ball and be effective when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. Being effective in shooting off the catch, attacking off the catch, providing more versatility to his game, so he's not only like someone that knows how to have the ball or just someone that plays on the corner and doesn't know how to play with the ball. Like develop both of these things that can probably make him more a versatile player and someone that most teams will look at.
Very cool. So I think of Juan Toscano Anderson as one of the big names that came through there. And do I have this right, that Kenneth Faried and Michael Carter-Williams, Gary Clark, some former NBAers, are still on the team or just played last season? Or
they played last season. I'm not also allowed to say all the names that we got on the roster. We have to see that. Skylar Mays, for example, also went through Capitanes. So yeah, that's one of the main goals of the team, is to develop players to go back to the NBA. But also the other goal is to get to the playoffs of the G League and start to compete more for even a championship in the G League. Who knows?
Yeah, I expect, since this is one of the few teams that is not a direct affiliate of the NBA, that really is a priority, winning at the G League level and not necessarily developing certain prospects for another team elsewhere, where you want to obviously still focus on basketball development, but winning comes first and foremost.
Yeah, you're not developing for a team in particular, so you don't have guidelines from a parent team telling you you want to do this or that. You have your own players and you're trying to get them to the NBA again, or even to Europe to a better team in EuroLeague or stuff like that. But also you're trying to win. You're trying to create a culture of winning, so players want to come to Capitanes as well.
Well, it's great to see Kenneth Faried especially just still bouncing around, grabbing rebounds. I feel like he was coming off the bench for the Nuggets, just flying around like 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago by now. And it's great to see him still doing it at a really high level. So could you tell me a little more about your background, maybe how your path getting to this team with EHoopsScouting and ID Prospects? What drew you to those organizations, and kind of what do you look for as a scout? Like what are you prioritizing skill wise, whether it's ball skills, athleticism, anything? Like what standout skills are you hoping to find in prospects?
Yeah, I've started 2016, 17 I was a youth coach in Portugal, where I'm based off. And then I started to scout a bit, and I liked it. I joined IDprospects in 2020, I think, with a lot of guys that are right now in the NBA, in the European teams and stuff like that. And then from there, I went to EHoopsScouting, where I still am. I'm still doing work for them as a head scout. We do a service for NCAA teams, a licensed scouting service for them, trying to get European players to the NCAA. Like, we know the game is going more and more global, and a lot of European guys are going to the NCAA. So we're trying to find, not only for the high major teams, but also mid-major, low major, even Division 2 teams that are trying to find talent here in Europe. There's talent everywhere, so you just have to look and see what you're looking at. In terms of like what I look at in a player's perspective, like really depends on what I'm doing. I've worked with some academies in Europe that are looking for different things. Some teams are looking for more bigger players with athleticism and stuff like that. Others are looking for more creative players with touch on their shot and stuff like that. With Capitanes, there's also like aside from getting to some players that we can get to the NBA, there's also a big responsibility on trying to develop the Latino community in basketball. So getting like players from Mexico, players from Puerto Rico, Argentina, Brazil, Venezuela, all those countries to get the opportunity to play in a level like the G League against NBA players and players like that. So and with those kinds of players, you're looking at point guards with shooting skills, or some bigs that can defend in the perimeter and stuff like that. So that's mainly the guys I like to watch, like really versatile defensive players that can play 3, 4, 5 and run around defensive end, or on offense, like shot creators and guys that can do multiple stuff with the ball and without the ball as well.
Absolutely. Two-way versatility is the name of the game. So
yeah,
sounds about right. And it's super cool to be an ambassador, especially in that area of the world, to try to give players and prospects opportunity to compete at the highest level and mostly just get seen to get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So super cool. And well, we might hop around some prospects here. I was hoping to talk with you about Dwayne Aristode committing to Arizona, and even some international guys like Igor Milicic, Nolan Traore, and Hugo Gonzalez. Thought we might start off with Aristode and get some of your thoughts on him. I mean, super exciting prospect. I've been able to catch him live a few times here in Florida at Mount Verde and at the NBPA Top 100 camp. And to me, it's almost like watching a 6'8" power forward with guard skills. And I was able to ask him a few questions at the NBA Top 100 camp, and his interview skills really jumped out to me because watching him play reminded me of a strong guard like Dwayne Wade. And when I asked him if any current or former players inspired his game, first name out of his mouth is D Wade. It's one of his favorite players. He likes watching him. He also likes KD, the way KD is able to get his jump shot off. And when I asked him about his developmental goals, I thought these really stood out about him being able to note where his weaknesses might be and then directly have a plan of how to address them and develop them. So he says he has 4 developmental goals. 2 were physical. Dwayne said, I'd like to improve my core to be able to get to the paint and be able to finish against stronger guys. My hips, I want to improve my hips so I can jump higher and change directions fast. Skill-wise, I like to improve my ball handling. If I can improve my ball handling, let the ball be rolling with me, that can be dangerous for sure. And my shot creating ability, being able to create space and get to my shots, I think if I improve those things, I'll be dangerous for sure. And I really love his mindset. how he describes his game, and his physicality in general. Like he brought stellar two-way impact to every game he played. When I measured his Cerebro stats and compared him to other players in the events, he popped out for his defense, his scoring, his three-point shooting, just high two-way impact from all around things that you want to see, especially from an on-ball wing. So I wanted to ask you what kind of pops out to you about his game, and is there anything? How high do you kind of expect him to go? Maybe either in the draft or even more long-term, big picture. What kind of player do you think he can be at the next level, like the NBA? Is he a potential starter one day because he has this two-way impact, this frame, these skills, or is it more of a six-man scenario maybe?
Yeah, it's first of all, it feels like someone that is really mindful of what he has to develop. So it's pretty good. He comes from a good development background in Spain at Juventud, like the team that got Ruben Prey to St. John's, Conrad Martinez, they went to Arizona as well. Kareem Lopez was in the NBL in Australia right now. So it's a good developmental team, and it's really really good at what it does. The shot is already, you can see it's already there in terms of catch and shoot. Like he can do it, and if he has that, the catch and shoot and the ability to defend either on the perimeter or inside, like he already has the tools to be a good contributor in the college level and then at the NBA level. I know he wants to develop a bit more his handling and trying to become more of a shot creator himself and for others, because also like his assists come mostly on ball movement. Like he catches the ball and he keeps the ball moving, not much of like creating off a pick and roll or his own creation and getting an assist to someone. He can do that at a certain level. I don't know if he can do that to start off in college, but he can definitely be someone that you can get to the NBA and play like the 3-4 position, like just guard a good wing on the other team and shoot on the other. Like he's going to the NBA like that player, and if he develops more of his dribble, he can only become so much more versatile. So I see him as a first round pick when he gets to the NBA. Maybe in the end of lottery to 20 something range, but I feel like he can definitely be an NBA player. Like 6'8" with these physical tools and already the shot and defense he can provide. It's invaluable right now in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, definitely could see a first round pick. Definitely has a lot of tools, like you mentioned. I mean, he has that downhill explosiveness, strong drives, will finish through contact, phenomenal athlete. We were just talking about two-way versatility, and this is a guy that brings it. I mean, a forward, big wing with guard skills that can already dribble, pass, and shoot. He can drive and draw fouls at the rim. Versatile shot profile in the mid-range, finishing at the rim, and maybe more of a catch-and-shoot threat from deep at the moment, but that's something that could come with the dribbling as well if he develops with those handles to create shots, kind of like he said. So super exciting prospect. I'd say like his first step really stands out. Burst to create advantages on drives. You mentioned a tight handle already that could continue developing, and just a really clean all-around skill set that should translate immediately to college and then ideally as well to the next level. But definitely love where Dwayne Aristode's headed as an NBA prospect. So jumping over to Nolan Traore, I don't know if you caught his most recent game for St. Quentin versus Colossus, but he just popped off. He dropped 27 points and 5 assists, hit 4 of 10 3-pointers, 5 of 8 from 2, and 5 from 5 from the free throw line. I've also caught him a few other times in a France-Turkey U18 matchup and INSEP versus Real Madrid, where he's scoring, dishing the ball. I would say, to me, some of his most impressive skills is that start-stop, first step burst, just out of nowhere, quick acceleration, like hitting a turbo boost on the gas pedal. Like the speed really stands out, and also has really good footwork on both ends, where he's Euro stepping through traffic. He's attacking gaps. Shout out to Maria from Swish Theory, who's been writing about just that ability, both recently and just overall his entire game. He's also Traore is shown good vision, good playmaking, like drive and kick, really good like passing touch to hit guys in the shooter pockets, and just good feel for the game on both ends, where he's sticking in a defensive stance, he's sliding his feet. He would make a defensive coach happy because he's just given great effort over and over again. He reminds me of like a defensive connector type that, maybe there's a little potential for even more as if this pull-up shooting stays as high as it's been as of late. But not to throw a comp out too early, but just one of these defensive connector types already, like a Alonzo Ball or a Jalen Suggs, or ideally where Tyrese Halliburton has gotten to as just a knockdown shooter, great feel, ability to drive and kick, and those are all either former or potential borderline stars, all stars to defensive stars at the very least. But there's a lot to like to his game. I would love to see this shooting stay consistent because he's a really enticing prospect already. Makes a lot of team first plays on both ends. Just an absolute dog on the ball defense at point of attack, and just phenomenal feel with that quick first step explosiveness. Can rise up and slam it, but really it's the driving and getting through, attacking the open space. And he always has like good instincts to maybe pump fake or fake out a defender just with a subtle little look away or a subtle little half step hesitation, where he's creating that gap for himself to attack, or he already knows he's going to set up somebody else by drawing in defenders into the paint for the kick out. So what really stands out to you about Traore?
Yeah, in his case, like the first thing you see is the burst, the way he gets into the paint, like without any problem. You see every play he does, he can just get past his man without going for too many combination of dribbles. Like he goes for a 1-2 and he goes past his man because he's so quick with his dribble, and his acceleration is so low on the ground, so close to the ground that he gets past his man without much problem. And to remind, like he's playing in a good league in Europe, and he's playing in a competition in European competition as well with St. Quentin. Like he's playing in France, which is one of the biggest domestic leagues in Europe, probably the closest one to what the NBA is in terms of the type of players you have and type of game you have. And then playing in the European competition is always like you're playing against teams all over Europe. They are good in their domestic league, so that's good for him. And to be able to go into his team at St. Quentin and be the main ball handler and play with the ball and have the ball in his hands, that's invaluable experience for him. You're 100% right. The shot needs to come along and be there, like it's been in the last like 2-3 games that it's been for him. It needs to stay like that because we know in the NBA, if you're a ball handler without a shot, you're going to have some trouble, especially in the playoffs. But he's still pretty young. I think he's still growing, so I wouldn't like. He's I think 6'4". I think he can get to 6'5" maybe at least. So that gives him an advantage with the way he plays, like having that and having the ability to get to the rim and then taking on contact and still finish and stuff like that. Like I wrote an article about him as well for DraftStack. Just like the ability he has to create drives and consistently drive and finish off drives or get a teammate involved, and like it's off the charts even compared to other shot creators in the NBA right now when they in the year before they went to the NBA, and we're comparing to Luka, to Jalen Brunson, to Shea. Like we're not saying that he's the same player, but in terms of creating drives, he's doing about the same or even better than some of them, even to compare to Wally Burton. So then he'll have to develop his outside game to be more of an overall shot creator. But in terms of his drives, he can create like anything he wants. And the under 18 competition was really good for him. There was a lot of talent there. The AMGT that he played against in the final against Real Madrid, that's also like really good players against him, like Igor Milicic, Hugo Gonzalez. So that's pretty cool for him to have that. The shot has to come like it's been coming, like off the dribble, off the catch. But right now he's on a great path, and I think he's probably, if he's not going top 5, it's because he had like a rest of the season that's abysmal. Because if not, it's probably gonna stay in the top 5 area for sure.
Right, especially we're harping on the shooting a little, but I mean all it needs is consistency because he's got a ton of like promising factors. It's clearly great touch, whether it's the passes, finishing at the rim, the free throw percentage, and the volume is high there. And there are games like just against Colossus recently where it looks as smooth as butter, where he's just pulling up in stride on a pick and roll, stepping right into it. Anytime they went under the screen, he punished the defender, and it looks really smooth. So, I mean, that consistency is going to take him a long way, and I agree he'll be a top prospect coming up. And I would like to see maybe his off-ball awareness on defense kind of could be another development area as well for him. But, no player is perfect, and he has a ton of impressive skills already. But that could really round out his game to kind of reduce any holes that might get attacked at the next level. And
I don't know if he's gonna have that much that many games off the ball, because like he's the main ball handler of the team, and they're trying to get him to that level. So I think probably that comes a bit more as he gets to the NBA.
For sure. And just defensive awareness, rotations, closeouts, all that is kind of where I could see him maybe improve a little, is defensively on that side. Yeah. But speaking of Hugo Gonzalez, he was in that matchup, Real Madrid versus INSEP, and a former rising star. He ended up being the MVP of Adidas Next Generation Tournament. He dropped 23 points, 5 for 11 from 2, 2 for 6 from 3, hit all 7 of his free throws, 6 assists, 5 steals, 1 block. It's a 6'4" guard, or at least a small wing, either tall guard or small wing, however you end up playing him in the lineup. But he really stood out in this tournament. He's another potential first-round pick. He's got a lot to like about him, even if he's a little raw in some areas. He's clearly a defensive force, I think, where like he has great ball instincts, especially as a help defender, blocking shots around the rim, and a great motor intensity, where sometimes maybe he's reaching a little too much, and that might cause a few fouls or get upset or something. But he racks up deflections as well, and that's what you want out of using his length and height effectively on the perimeter, just creating turnovers, and also uses that athleticism to be a good drive and kick presence on offense, where he has good footwork downhill in transition and counters, good slasher, off-ball cutter, some big athleticism compared to his peers, and good enough handle to create those advantages with good kick-out vision. He's shown some capability shooting the ball, but that's definitely a big question mark. But has ran off screens, has hit catch and shoots. He hit the not the game winner, but the game tying shot to send it into overtime in that big game, like running around a screen for a three that just rolled in. And really good two-way feel for the game, I think, even if other aspects need to develop, where he always knows where the ball is. He's always trying to deflect it. And when he's driving and kicking, he's good at either drawing a foul on the drive or kicking out and finding the shooter. So what do you like about his game, and how high do you think he might be able to go in the draft?
Yeah, so I also wrote about it, mainly because like he's not getting a lot of minutes right now with Real Madrid because it's a EuroLeague team trying to win it, and putting an 18-year-old kid in the lineup is not easy. They have a stacked team, like they have Mario Zonia, they have Janan Musa, they have all these guys that are NBA players or close to that and in front of him. So he isn't playing right now. Maybe he can get some minutes as we go on the season and more games start to pile up, and he probably gets some more reps. But he basically changed his offensive game from one season to the other. Like the first time I watched him was in the 22-23 season at the ANZT in Munich, and he was like catch and drive, catch and shoot player only for Real Madrid. Like Jan Vide and Igor Milicic were doing like all ball handling, and it was just attacking off the catch and shooting off the catch and stuff like that. And with Vide going to the NCAA, and now Demin also becoming more of an off-ball player as well, Hugo Gonzalez got more of the ball, and they had to develop that part of his game. And for a 17-year-old, you're putting a player who was more like a catch and go guy. You're putting him in situations where he has to play the pick and roll, and he has to make decisions in different ways. And that takes some time, and that's like he had to do all of that for Spain in the under 18, and it could have cost Spain the permanence in Division A, which would be something that you would never expect, because Spain is always a team that's going for gold and stuff like that, and they were really close to getting to Division B. But they were trying to develop that part of his game, and it's slowly coming, and he's becoming much more of a versatile player. So now he can play pick and rolls. Even if it's more on secondary actions, he can catch the ball and then go with a pick and roll, not only relying on attacking closeouts and stuff like that. He is now a player that can stop and shoot off a pull-up instead of just catching and shooting. He's now more of a movement shooter as well. He can come off pin downs and under screens to get his shot, and becoming more comfortable with that. It takes some time for him, for sure. And it's going to take time, and I don't think he's going to be an impactful player since day one. For me, personally, I'm more watching European players, so I probably have them a bit higher than other guys, but I still have him in my lottery and probably top 10. Other thing is like his competitive spirit is off the charts. It's like you see an Anthony Edwards, you see a Jimmy Butler, that you're like Hugo Gonzalez at this level is like up 50, up 60 on a team, and is guarding full court and pressuring a player and getting on their skin and trying to rip the ball off them. Like that's not something that you see every day. And he has like a really high competitive spirit. Sometimes he gets in the way of him, like he gets too eager to do something. Sometimes he may get under teammate's skin for something he says or stuff like that. But that's him. That's what you also like to see in him. And then as you mentioned, like his defense, mostly because of that, because like he's 6'6", he moves well, he has a nice frame already for his age. But the way he competes and the way he goes about defending, it's a lot of I want to get the ball back. I want this to be mine and to go on offense again. So that's a lot of what makes him special on that end, and what can make him special in the NBA for sure.
Yeah, that competitive energy definitely stands out. Those are some exciting comps. I mean, you love to see that mindset. Somebody that just wants to win every possession out there and get stops and takes pride in defending the rim and forcing turnovers and then scoring, dunking on your head or making the right play on the other end. And shout out Hazonia as well, Magic legend, favorite Mario. Gotta give him a shout out. Always, all love for Mario Hazonia. But Hugo's got a lot to like, especially great defender, great passer, great driving force, and I'd say maybe the shooting is probably his biggest swing skill.
Yeah.
Like, do you think he'll be able to become at least a respectable, consistent enough shooter? Because he can already sort of hit the catch and shoot and the off screen. So, do you think that last kind of frontier is doable for him?
Yeah, like his shooting profile changed from one year to another. Like he went from a catch and shoot guy to a movement and dribble shooter. So that is not easy for a 17-year-old to go through. Sure. If you put him in a position like he's more again a catch and shoot guy right now, his numbers are gonna go up because he already knows that. But becoming speeding up his release, like you can see his release is different right now. His release was more going forward, and he's now going up a bit, releasing higher, and these things take time. Like for some players, it takes a whole career to do this. For him, it's a change in, I don't know, 11 months, 12, 13. Like that's not a lot of time for a kid to develop. So people have to be patient with him. It could probably cost him some spots in the draft. It could probably slide a bit. But for his development going forward, it's really important for him to be that. So once he gets to the NBA, I think he can be at least a respectable shooter because he has done that before.
Yeah, all promising for sure. And speaking of making that transition from catch and shoot to movement shooting, that was something I'm excited to talk to you about. You wrote an article recently with DraftStack as well about Igor Milicic. Here, and you note that he's a knockdown catch and shoot 3-point shooter coming from Charlotte, who's shown the ability to hit deep range, step into a little one dribble pull up, a smart connector, decision maker, good vision to attack closeouts especially, and just kind of make the right play, jump passing lanes for steals, hit the open three. And now you're projecting that with Tennessee, he'll be doing a lot more movement shooting. So could you detail what that process might be like what skills you need to be able to make that transition from just a catch and shoot standstill shooter to more of a movement shooter? And I know you, in the article, you mentioned his fluidity, his mobility, his footwork. So kind of that proprioception of spatial awareness, knowing where you need to be, being able to execute it, what you have to practice to get there. And I'll be sure, of course, to link all these articles. You got one on each player, it seems like. So we'll link them all in a nice little thread with the podcast release.
Yeah, thank you. To give like a little bit of background, he played at Ulm in Germany. So he comes from that development team. Like it's a really good team. It's probably one of the best teams right now developing in Europe. Like you have right now Ben Saraf and Noah Senge. You have from last year you have Juan Nunez and the other French wing. I don't remember. They went to the Knicks. But I don't remember his name right now. You have Killian Hayes that you can say like didn't pan out in the NBA yet, but he's a really high draft pick. So you have all those guys developing there. So they have a developing stage that is like really good, and they do a great job with their young guys. And also, he's 6'10". He's not a 6'5" guy, a 6'6". No, he's 6'10". He's a big. And he went to Virginia, didn't pan out there. Then he went to Charlotte, and he really like developed into what he is now. And he's going to Tennessee. That like I wrote, I really feel like it's the right place for him, because at Charlotte most of his attempts from three came of the catch only, like spotting up in the corner or in the wing and waiting for the ball and going from there. But he showcased some other stuff that probably got Tennessee interested. Like he was able to catch and go. He was able to play some pick and roll, which again, and I'll say it again, he's 6'10", so it's not easy to do a 6'10", and to find a play like that. He already had some workouts with NBA teams, and he has that also that experience, and some teams telling him, okay, you probably should be able to do this or that, and we know like Tennessee is a great offensive team, and they look for screens for almost all of their offense. Like I was seeing the numbers, and they were like second or third teams in scores after of screens. So that's what he'll try to do and become a more versatile shooter. It's different to shoot off the catch than when you're coming off movement and you're coming off a screen, and you probably have to use a dribble, or you have to get your feet ready a bit sooner than when you're just catching and going up. Like everything in your shot is to speed up a bit, because you have a defender coming right at you, and he's not coming at you from the front. He's coming at you from your back. He's coming at you from your right when you're trying to go up with your right, and you have a defender right there, so you have to speed up your shot a bit. Everything has to be done a bit quicker. Your catch has to be in the perfect spot for you to go up, instead of like catching, going down, and then going up because you lose all your momentum. So all these micro skills and stuff like this affect what he's doing. So he has had some moments of maturing last year at Charlotte, but it's going to become much more of he shot tired. So probably what we're going to see at the start of the season is Milicic lowering his numbers a bit. It's because it's, again, like with Hugo, he's changing a bit. He's shot tired, so it's gonna have to come a bit with a bit of time, and then he's gonna develop. He's going to the NBA after this year, probably like 22, 23 years old, an older rookie, but someone that can already go there and play, give that ability to shoot, but also someone that can use that shot and the ability to fake and go inside and shoot a mid-range. And he probably needs to develop more the way he goes into the paint and finish at the paint, because he's not really there yet. And I would like him to show more in terms of getting a closeout and attacking quickly, and finishing above the rim and finishing with contact, and being able to do that. But the main thing with Tennessee is going to be like coming off a screen, or even some pick and rolls, and be able to ride off, like read the play and quickly go into a shot and go up without much hesitation for him. Like I'm not saying for people to compare him to Dalton Connect, because they're not the same height, they're not the same player. Connect is much more able with the ball in his hands and creating off that. But some plays that you see with Connect, like the ball movement, the shooting, the movement shooting, and coming off screens, you're probably going to see with Milicic.
Yeah, could definitely see him translating to that role. And I mean, already a 37% outside shooter on good volume, as you note in the article, and you really love his fluidity and agility, his mobility there. So all should help translate. His story as a draft pick almost reminds me of, obviously I'm covering the Orlando Magic here a little, so it reminds me of
Yeah,
Tristan da Silva a little bit, where he's kind of a taller 3-point threat who has that drive and kick, attack
exactly.
closeout, can be a little, can bring the like a good role player offensively, especially where he
Yeah,
can hit the dribble pass shot, attack the closeout, knock down 3-point shooter that opens up, the pump fake and the drive to attack those closeouts. And he does it at such a great height. I think De Silva's only maybe 6'8", but they're both to. And I'm glad you noted that Milicic is 6'10", because that's a really
yeah,
rare thing for either big wings or smaller bigs to be able to do. So definitely an interesting 3-point shooter, now headed to Tennessee, and excited to see his development into this role, going from catch and shoot threat to more off ball movement and being a motion shooter. It's not easy. I know. I think it was Chris Paul who said like he practiced forever to try to shoot like JJ Redick and just could never do it. Like he's
yeah,
a mid range assassin. Like he can knock down pull ups for days, but trying to run around a screen is just not his forte or something. So it's not an easy adjustment, no matter who you are or how much
yeah. And
experience and feel you have. So
yeah,
definitely
and you're doing like 20 seconds of running all around to have one shot off. That's
right.
that's only one shot. So
Yeah, the
like
conditioning has to be
yeah, the
next
conditioning
level
is
just to
yeah,
get that shot off. So I mean, you got to be training like Steph Curry or something out there
yeah,
with like one of those 100-shot drills where you run it around back and forth to each spot on the floor for only in a couple minutes and try to make 100 of them, which sounds impossible, but that's why Steph is Steph. But
yeah.
you know, so before we go, was there any other international prospects that might have caught your eye that over the next couple drafts, even that you just wanted to give a quick shout out to, or maybe say like they might have a little draft pick potential down the line?
Yeah, there are some guys. I try to follow college basketball as much as I can because also with zero hoops, like I do the coverage. I really think Maxime Reynaud is an NBA player. He's developed his outside shot a lot. He's a good shot blocker, rim protector. He can play inside. Um, it's gonna be really good. Shout out also to Matt Powers guy, Max Sugar. He's gonna stay at VCU. Gonna have much more of the ball. A guy from Ukraine. He was supposed to go to Villanova, and then he came back to VCU. Really good with the ball, really good decisions. Let's see if he can up the volume of his ball handling. A shout out for Ruben Prey. He's from Portugal, so I have to shout out my guy. I don't know if he's going to the draft this year. It's probably going to be a year of trying to see with the physicality of college basketball and stuff like that how he uh, how he can get inserted there and play even as a 4 or a 5. We'll see. But he's a really interesting guy. And then you have all these players in Europe, like you have guys like Jack Cahill that I like very much from Mega. You have Avdalas, you have a lot of guys like I don't know, so many guys that you have
Right.
in Europe right now, and going to the US as well. You have in also from Spain. Yeah, I forgot his name. The guy that played with Hugo Gonzalez. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's playing in the Spanish league guard with good handling skills as well. Really quick that can get to the NBA as well in the future. Yeah, just keep an eye on Mega for sure. Keep an eye on Ulm with Saraf and Noah Senga and all the guys that are coming through their ranks. In college basketball, like so many guys, I'm hoping for a good year from Berke Buyuktunchel that was with UCLA and now he's going to Nebraska as well. Let's see if he can get more of the ball because I see him more as a point forward than what he was doing at UCLA as a catch and shoot guy. It's not really his game. But there's so many European guys. I'm forgetting so many of them. But yeah, just keep an eye on them. I'll try to keep posting about them as well through the year, and we'll see. The international game is growing. It's helping the NBA also, becoming a different league, different kind of basketball. Even EuroLeague right now is full of talent. Like so many guys that can right now be a part of an NBA team and now play here in Europe. So yeah, just keep watching basketball and all these guys because the talent is through the roof.
Absolutely. I mean, just the past few MVPs have all been international guys, and
Exactly.
I mean, you got players from all over the world. I just looked it up real quick. Only 5% of the league was international in '92, and it's up to 23% in '21. And the best of the best. Yeah, I mean, there's simply more players and people out there than there are in America. So as the game grows, that should almost be expected. And there's I'd say at least half, if not more than half, of the stars in this league today are international guys. So it's always good to keep a beat on anyone that might be rising through those ranks and maybe flowing or flying a little under the radar. So I appreciate you giving them the shouts, and definitely appreciate you taking the time today, Antonio. Good luck the rest of your season with Mexico City. Wishing you all the best, and can't wait to see y'all get some games in.
Yeah, for sure. Just wanted to shout out. It's Mario Saint-Superi, the guy that I was talking about from Spain.
All right.
Yeah, keep an eye on him as well. There's so many guys. You still have in college this year, Igor Milicic, you have Yakusionis, so many guys. So thank you for having me. Hoping for a big year. Everyone watch Capitanes. We'll try to do a great job and try to get that team to the playoffs. Thank you so much for all the work you do with Swiss Theory and all the work you're doing now with the podcast, and thank you for the invitation for sure.
Hey, always appreciate talking hoops. Love following you on Twitter, and keep an eye out for Antonio's work with EHoopsScouting, and you got to watch some Capitanes this year.
Sure.
It's time to ball. I like it. Well, good to see you.
Thank you, man.
With Ryan.
Learning Basketball is a Swish Theory podcast, hosted from Beyond the Arcade. Hey, that's me. You can find my work on Twitter, YouTube, Substack, and check out the team's website, theswishtheory.com.